Okay. Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Office of Special Education Services information session for special education. It is January 21st, 2025, and we will go ahead and get started. I did send out an agenda last week, and some things have already been added to it, but as you may recall, our director, Peter Quaip, told us in the very beginning, these meetings are meant to be the latest and greatest up-to-date information for you. And so things may change at the last minute. And sure enough, they did. So that's all right. That's what we want, is what's the newest information for you. So Katie, I will turn this over to you and mute my microphone.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's staying warm. It's pretty chilly where I am at. So I wanted to get started today. Before I move into updates, there is someone that has joined the department, and they're in the Office of Assessment. And I wanted to introduce them to you because I think they'll be vital to some of the things that you're doing within your districts when it comes to assessment. His name is Daniel Publicover. He goes by Dan, and he's from the Office of Assessment, and he's gonna introduce himself.
Hey everyone, I'm Dan Publicover. Like Katie said, I'm actually in the Office of Assessments and Standards, which is just down the hall from the Office of Special Education Services. I am the program manager over accommodations and testing students with disabilities. So that would be things like all of our access limited requests that we just went through, looking at all the accessibility features of our tests, helping out the test development team, anything related to all those formal assessments for the state. In relation to our individuals with disabilities. So excited to be here, happy to help however I can, and thanks for the invite.
Thank you, Dan. And Dan's been great. He was in North Carolina for a little while, and they used ECATS, which is EdPlan, which is PCG, and so he is very fluent in using the system, and so it's helpful when we're going through those things. And he'll also be popping on Thursday during the office hours. So anyone that isn't here today will get to meet him during the office hours as well to make sure that we're getting out that information about our newest member. So thank you, Dan. So getting back to my updates. So one of the things I want to talk about, and I send out a lot of emails starting 2025. And so the quick reference guides, those have been updated. A lot of that update is based on the new information, the new changes that were done in December that you saw in those release notes that we covered during the December office hours. So that just to know, like some people print those out. And so if you're printing those out, and if you printed them out, before December, you're going to want to print those out again to keep them, handy if that's what you're doing. Because we'll have some changes to them. Also, the user type guide that was updated, and I have on here where it's located in the training site, but that user type guide is also located in the quick reference guide and your production site. So if you wanted to locate it in the production site, it's there. I just talked to Phil today about where we want to keep some of these items that really aren't quick reference guides, and looking at having a different tab for items that don't really fall under that quick reference guide. They're more of resources. There's also another new document that I thought was really great. It provides a description of all the columns and different like what the standard reports is. So it's a standard reports list, and it gives you all the information you need about the report. So you can kind of search through if there's a certain report that you're looking to run that's in standard report, not a part of AR. That list will help you with that. Then there's also been updates in addition to the articles and videos. One of Ginger from PCG has been working on updating those videos and articles based on the changes, and then based on feedback of users would like a video related to this topic. One big change also is the link. So there is now a link that comes directly to me. I'm overseeing the link as opposed to kind of before PCG, Phil would get the link information, then he would share that with me. So this link is to request things for office hours. So if there's something that you want to see on the office hours agenda, But then also there's an area in there if there's something that you would like to see as a configuration or development change, or something that you want to see in the drop-down menus, you'll put that information in there, and then I'll be reviewing that and working with PCG on that information that's put in there, whether it's for the agenda on office hours or if it's a configuration change. So with that, there was a survey that went out. We got a good response. I appreciate that. I appreciate all the feedback. It was a lot of great feedback that we can actually use to help change the processes and enhance the process for evaluation. So we'll be looking at that. If you didn't get yours in yet, if there's still some time, we're going to be meeting tomorrow to look at it with a group. And so just as soon as you can get it in, the system will alert me that there's a new one. And so I will look at everything. Hopefully you can tell that we are really using your feedback to make all of these changes that we're making in the system. And so your feedback is vital to assisting us with this process. The other thing I wanted to add that's not in the updates, as Sarah said, things change. Something came up in a meeting this morning and I said, oh, I think I should tell everyone that and remind them about that, is paperclip. So as a reminder for paperclip for your storage, only the documents that are uploaded by users are what's counting against your paperclip. So any documents that are EdPlan documents that you're already creating, notification of meeting, that's not adding to your paperclip. Some districts are, have reached out about getting close to what they're using. And so if you're uploading things from Enrich, you're going to run out of your paperclip pretty quickly. And so you might want to cover with your end users what kinds of things they should be uploading, just to check that out. And there are resources for you to look at how much paperclip you've used. If you have any questions about paperclip, though, you can just email me, and we'll see where you're at. With that, remember it'll renew every year annually in July. Unfortunately, what you don't use doesn't roll over. It's not like the old rollover minutes. It'll just add, you'll just have the same amount, and we go off of the child count numbers for that. Okay, next slide. So the translation in the system, as you know, we always were going to have Spanish, and then we were looking at those additional languages and piloting them. And another survey went out. I guess I like surveys, but I really do want your feedback, and I need your feedback to support what we're doing. And so with that feedback, we had a lot of good comments about the translation and how that was working. And so we'll be keeping the translation. We'll be keeping the languages that we had started with, those extra 5 languages in addition to Spanish. We currently have the following documents that are listed there that can be translated, but we are looking at adding progress reports, FIBA-BIP, eval summaries and eval planning, the IEP team excusal, as well as, I think I already said the summary re-eval and initial report. So there are some other forms that we are looking at adding so that they can be translated as well, along with the ISP. So you'll see that. So any other feedback that you have, again, you can use that link in the previous slide, and I've sent it out to power users to submit information when it comes to related to translation. And next slide, please. The Connect portal, same thing. We had that trial period. This went out in an email to all the power users and EdPlan SC contacts, but I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware. It is staying. We are keeping the Connect portal. This is the parent guardian portal that is available through EdPlan. And so there's going to be a webinar on January 28th from 10 to 11. The registration link went out. It's here below as well, if anybody needs that. But I also wanted to make a note here that I sent out the guide that we have for this was translated in Spanish. So we have that available as well. Cheryl got that done for us. And so that was pushed out. So you have that resource for parents. The session will be recorded and shared out. So if you cannot attend on that date and time, we will have that information for you. And there's a little description there of what's going to be shared out during that specific webinar. All right, moving forward. I should ask, has there been any questions, or I'm not following of the chat. So if there are questions.
No, Katie, I don't see any in the chat. No.
Okay, perfect. The next thing is the EdPlan SC Progress Track. Lots of webinars going on, so we're pushing out lots of information. This is, again, there's different times and dates. You only need to register for one if you'd like to attend. These are for power users or district leadership that's wanting to learn more about Progress Track. You only have to attend one, or if you're going to attend and you wanted to attend, you only need to attend one. It's the same information, just 4 different times, and trying to keep them in smaller groups so that we can answer questions. Again, I suggested Phil that we record all 4, and the best of the best is what we push out to everyone. So the sessions will be recorded and shared out, but it'll be one session, not each session will be shared out. So one session will be shared out after the last session is complete. And moving forward from Progress Track, virtual office hours. So those went out. Our first one is Thursday. And so I sent out not a calendar, but a list. And these are just, we're going to try it for this first one in January, because usually this is what PCG creates and pushes out. And so they have registration. And so I'm going to try it this way. We'll see what happens with just giving you the meeting link. You'll join the meeting that way. And then it will be recorded and sent out. Usually it is pushed out a little bit faster by PCG. They have some different things that they do. And so mine will be pushed out the same way that Sarah's pushing out the recordings from this meeting. And so there might be a little bit of a slower turnaround for that. But that is how office hours will be running. And then you have the link. So anything that you want to see on the agenda for office hours, you can send to me. I know some of the topics that we will be covering. This one on Thursday, I'm getting ready to send that agenda out here. We're going to cover progress reports and some things on progress reports, some questions that people have been asking. We're going to talk about the ISP and making sure we're checking that private and setting. So just looking at all of those different things and looking at different reports. We're going to be covering some pieces in there. So I'll be sending that agenda out as well. All right, next slide, Sarah. Advanced reporting. And so there was a miscommunication on how the slide was supposed to look, but it says Monday, March 10th. The Tuesday, March 11th was supposed to be crossed out, and then Monday, March 10th was supposed to be in here. There is a conflict with the person who does this AR training. Unfortunately, she cannot do the March 11th training in the afternoon. We have switched it to March 10th, and this just happened like 3 hours ago. And so PCG will be pushing out information to those people who had already registered for that March 11th session. And I'll send out the information as soon as I have it from Phil about signing up for the March 10th session. And this is going to be for the advanced reporting. And so this is going to be for power users, your data managers, those people that are going to be running and creating those reports at your district. So we apologize for the inconvenience about it being switched from Tuesday to Monday, but more information will go out about that as well. Okay. End user webinar series. So there was a big request for additional training for end users. And so what we did was we pushed out some webinar information. And so everyone knows how it was pushed out. It went to power users and EdPlan EdPlan contacts that are in that DEEMS system. And so you all got that. And then it also went out, Sarah pushed the email out, and then anyone that completed the survey that concluded a valid email address received the information as well. And so we did 2 already today. We did the basics, and we had a pretty good turnout. We had 50 in the morning session, and we had 40 in the afternoon session. So these are for these are really for anyone that's using EdPlan to attend. They're not going to be that high level power user information, but as a power user in my district, I would probably attend so I could see what people are saying, and I might learn something that I wasn't, didn't already realize, like I didn't know, or I might just feel good about the fact that I already know these things. And so there's 4 different topics and each topic has 3 different times that it's being done. And they're at different dates and times, but we will be recording. They're not, and there's not anything to be, they're not mandatory. It's just available opportunities for end users to learn more and feel more confident in using the system. That is it for me. I don't know if there's any questions. As always, if you have questions or need anything, don't hesitate to email me. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I will see most of you on Thursday during office hours. Thank you and have a great evening. Stay safe.
Thank you, Katie. And I do apologize. I'm the one that misunderstood. I was supposed to cross out the one and then add that rather than delete the date.
No worries. I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware that was a change, because I didn't want people to say, wait, I wrote it down on my calendar wrong, or no, you didn't. It was a change.
Okay, thank you. Now, I do have a question. So there are some things popping up in the chat that I don't know if they're just some automated thing happening. So there's one from unknown U, the letter U, view live transcription and summaries at, and then it has a Google Docs address, but it was talking about, it popped up right about the same time you were talking about the webinars. Did anyone in our audience enter that? Or is that like just right now, there's another one that just popped up that said an AI assistant is helping a particular person take notes for this meeting and so forth. So is this just technology taking over, or is it, did someone actually enter that view live transcription and summaries?
I think that's just AI transcribing, taking notes, Sarah.
Okay, I knew the second one was, but I wasn't sure the first one was. Okay. All right, moving on. Jenny, here you go.
Hey, everybody. Just wanted to give you a quick heads up. Make sure that you're aware that the South Carolina Department of Education Math Standards team and the Office of Standards and Assessment, or Assessment Standards, is hosting a roadshow to roll out the new math standards, similar to the way that they rolled out the ELA standards earlier. Math standards will be fully implemented this fall 2025. So the team is offering 2-day sessions with a deeper dive into the strands, standards, and process standards and supporting documents, and includes information for working with students with disabilities, and which we have collaborated with them to create, and working with multilingual learners. The title office has been in close collaboration with them as well. You can see the sessions listed on this slide. And this PowerPoint this slide's available in this PowerPoint, so you'll be able to reference it later. And Sarah, if you'd progress to the next slide, please. Make sure you register. There's the link. I'm also dropping it in the chat. So just make sure you register and share out with your teachers and math specialists in your districts. And be on the lookout for more math supports. We are collaborating closely with, of course, our Academic Alliance of South Carolina, and hopeful that we will be providing some more supports for you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. And as she said, the link is in the chat. She just put that in there. Next, we have Lisa McClimate to talk to us about sanctions and credible allegations.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, please don't shoot the messenger on this. This is coming from OSIP. And just, we used to quote 0902 as kind of our document or guidance from OSIP on state general supervision responsibilities. But in July 24th of 2023, OSIP put out 2301. So that trumps 0902. So our new state's general supervision responsibilities are in that 2301 memo. You can link to it there if you just, need something good to help you fall asleep in the evening or whatnot. But that's the whole thing. But just as it relates to sanctions and to credible allegations, I just picked out a few parts that address that the state needs to have those written policies, procedures, and practices in place to explain our progressive sanctions and enforcement provisions for LEAs that don't meet timelines for corrections and noncompliance. And then the state must ensure that its general supervision system includes policies, procedures, and practices that are reasonably designed to consider and address areas of concern. And credible allegations of LEAs is kind of a new term and something new that we're doing through our office. You may have been through a credible allegation review and don't know it yet. May never know it because it's really just a process, and we'll talk a little bit about that in that next slide. But a state must conduct proper due diligence when we're made aware of a concern regarding an LEA's provider's implementation of IDEA and reach a conclusion in a reasonable amount of time. And once again, like a lot of things in IDEA, they don't specify what reasonable amount of time is. But when we do get a credible allegation, right now we're being able to address it and turn over and make a decision probably within 2 to 4 weeks of getting that allegation. So an area of concern that is defined in that 2301 means a credible allegation regarding an IDEA policy, procedure, practice, or other requirement that raises one or more potential implementation or compliance issues, if confirmed true. Such credible allegations, information, and awareness may come from any of our integrated monitoring activities. That's your program reviews, indicator reviews. It can come from data reviews, grant reviews, stakeholder calls, media reports, any dispute resolution processes, and any other mechanisms that relate to IDEA implementation. You can switch that, Sarah, on that slide. So for sanctions for failure to correct noncompliance in a timely manner. And we always have had the sanction if you fail to correct within a timely manner, you would see that as reflected in your determinations as the compliance section for not correcting in a timely manner. But we have to have a system of progressive sanctions when failure to correct noncompliance happens. And so in ascending order, Sarah, if you want to switch that. So we are, and I believe I don't remember if it was the last session or the session before where we put out the general supervision guide on our on the listserv. But this is all in that general supervision guide as well. But just wanted everybody to be aware in case you would get a letter from us. Part of our monitoring from OSIP was that we didn't have the leveled sanctions in place. Another reason for, why we just need to review it, you be aware of it, and we have to make sure we're complying. So when you've exceeded a 1-year timeline or a timeline designated by OSIS for correcting noncompliance, you will get a letter that the district has now moved to longstanding noncompliance. The letter will go to the special ed director and the superintendent. And then, the LEA with our office will develop a plan to correct that longstanding noncompliance within a reasonable time frame, not to exceed 60 school days. Exceeding the 1-year timeline, as I said earlier, results in that loss of points on LEA determinations in the compliance factor for timely submissions. Sarah, level 2 sanctions, that is when you have the superintendent and local school board will receive a letter indicating that the district has exceeded level 1 sanction timeline, and those findings of longstanding non-compliance must be corrected within 10 business days. So you've exceeded level 1 sanctions, which is 60 additional days, and then this letter would come out. Must be corrected within 10 business days unless a plan has been created with our office that exceeds the 10 days. And, many of if you're getting to that 1-year timeline for correcting noncompliance and you're struggling, there's always options that we will give you. Reach out, set a new timeline that's reasonable due to whatever issues, or struggles you're having in the district to get that noncompliance corrected. So we're always willing to work with, any of our districts to, put a plan into place so that we don't reach, level 2 sanctions. And Sarah, next one.
Excuse me for interrupting, Lisa. There is a question in the chat. I don't know if you wanted to wait, but
No, go
asking
ahead.
how many districts are in this situation?
Right now, there's none because, the sanctions, we're just getting our general supervision guide approved by OSIP. So far, no one. We certainly wouldn't put a district in sanctions before we've let you know that sanctions, our sanction process. So no one right now is in level 2 or level 3. So hopefully that helps. Level 3 sanctions, these are imposed after the LEA has exceeded the 10-day timeline or the agreed upon timeline in level 2 sanctions, and requires one of the following options, withholding funds, oversight of special education funds with our office. And level 3 sanctions would require a letter to parents of special ed students notifying them of sanctions that will be opposed. But no one's going to get to level 3, trust me. We're going to put a plan into place if we get to level 2, and we're not going to have anybody get into level 3 sanctions. We have to have the leveled sanction system, but we're going to work with everybody to make sure that, if you would get to level 3 is because we call, we send emails, we might even come out to your district, and, you're not willing to work with us, because we're absolutely willing to work with everyone to make sure that we don't ever get to this level 3 sanction point. And any questions on sanctions before I go to credible allegations? Go ahead, Sarah, then move on. I don't see any questions. So credible allegations was in that 2301 memo from OSIP, July of 2023, and it's new to us, especially, that when we're made aware of a concern regarding an LEA's implementation of IDEA, it usually is coming through our integrated monitoring activities, through monitoring through indicators, program review. We really never have gone into a lot of media reports. That's a very new area. What we see in the newspaper, on TV, on social media. So we're kind of learning as we go along when we get a credible allegation. And some of you may get a call from us to say, hey, we had one of your teachers, send us an email and could you clarify this? And a lot of times the district will say, well, that teacher got fired and there's a lawsuit or there's something going on. And you give us enough information that we know this is not a credible allegation and we don't go any further. We're going to get we get a lot of those kinds of things, and we've really addressed them before as a phone call to the district. Can you help us clarify this? Now it falls under credible allegations, and we just really have to keep a record of our process, that we did reach out, we looked into it, we reviewed, information, and we determined that it's really not a credible allegation, and that's where it ends. And Sarah, if you can flip that slide. So we do have a credible report team that's pulling together and looking at these credible allegations. It's a person from our program review team, because they're usually the ones that know the most about the districts from the program review process, someone from our policy team, someone from our review and analysis team as well, and anyone else that will have relevant experience or expertise, we might pull them in. And really our responsibility is just to do our due diligence to address the concern and come to a conclusion in a timely manner. And Sarah, you can keep going. And if through this process we do find noncompliance, you would then get a findings letter. If there is a systemic issue, it could trigger a program review or a focused review. And then same with all other noncompliance, it has to be corrected as soon as possible, but no later than 1 year from the date on the letter of the findings. So it's really, like I said, a process that's newer to us as far as, how we record everything that we do, making sure that, we do our due diligence when we get a credible allegation. And just a process. And like I said, some of you may not even know you've been through the process. You may get a phone call from Ann Moore who asked a few questions and said, great, thank you. And we're done. We can close it out and move on. So if it's something more serious, you'll hear more from us on that. But Peter, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to sanctions and credible allegations.
Yeah, one thing is we'll send out, so in response to our differentiated monitoring system report, so that was what OSIP issued to us in April of last year. We submitted a series of revised policies, including a general supervision guide that was in draft. I've shared it with this group a few times. It was also included in the materials for the fall administrators conference. So we'll send that out again. Like I said, we haven't gotten the response back or the feedback yet from OSIP. We submitted it in July, and we've been meeting with them, and I've asked them a few times for feedback on it. But we do know that with respect to the credible allegations, some of the other states have borrowed our draft and have been approved. So we anticipate that it will be approved by OSIP. So anyway, we'll send it back out. There's a few more steps in the process that are laid out here, but you can see the full text of it in the draft's general supervision guide. Like I said, as soon as we get approval from OSIP that we can go ahead and post it, then we'll also put it on our general supervision guide on the website. The older guide, the one that was issued, I think in 2021, had been posted for some time. The other thing is there's a couple other options in here other than, focus reviews or full program reviews. Sometimes we just provide technical assistance. Sometimes we get a credible allegation or an issue that's been raised, and it just needs clarification. And so we work with the district we've reached out a few times and just said, okay, well, what's going on? And then provide technical assistance so that we're all on the same page. Other times, sometimes we get issues that fall outside the scope of the IDA that get raised to us by parents or community members. And oftentimes we wouldn't even, reach out to you guys because we would just tell them this is outside of the scope of this office and may be referred to another office in the agency or somewhere else. Other times it's really issues that are meant for a local level for school boards and so forth, and that would be the response back. If it's an issue that really is local, a lot of HR issues come up, and those are things that are not within our scope. They would be definitely more contractual in nature and involving the employment relationship, and so we would provide that answer to whoever the person if it's brought by a specific person to our attention. So there are a variety of options in assessing these things. In the guidelines, we did talk about some things that you look at to determine whether a report or an issue has some credibility. If somebody's not willing to identify the source or they don't have direct knowledge, oftentimes there's a complete lack of detail and no way to follow up. to determine whether there's any truth to the issue or whether it's based in fact or what evidence there is to support it. So, we would look at those things and, obviously if there's really, it doesn't look credible at all, then those are things that we wouldn't really take any further. So, but you do have to have a process under 2301. So now we have a process, and that's where it stands. But we wanted to make everybody aware of kind of how it is. We don't, as an office, we are not hooked into social media looking for issues, but as you guys know, some things do make it to the Post and Courier, make it to the state newspaper. So those issues come up, and they are generally known in fairly widespread publications, and those we do see. But we're not, we certainly are not on every Facebook page. So that isn't something that we look for. But like I said, 2301 did require that we have a process, so we've put one in place, and wanted to make you aware of it. We do expect it'll get approved in the coming months from OSEP, and then we can put our general supervision guide on the website.
And just, on our end, we are not out there watching the news, reading the Post and Courier and looking for any allegations from somebody. It's just when it's brought to our attention. And as somebody had put in the chat, how many districts are in the sanction situation. I think we've never had a leveled sanctioning system because we always kind of felt we didn't need one if a district was going to go over 1-year timeline. Most districts have always, made arrangements with us. Can we extend the timeline? This is why, if it's reasonable. We've always done that. And so just under 2301, we have to have it in writing. Do we think that anybody will necessarily be in those level 2 or 3 sanctions? We really haven't, had districts that really would be there. You guys are always willing to work with us, and we're always willing to help in any way we can. But like Peter said, 2301 is now requiring us to have those in writing. So, we don't want to panic anybody that there's going to be a lot of extra anything coming your way, because I really don't think that will be the case. And any questions, you can just drop me an email. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you, Lisa and Peter. Madalena Tudora is next.
Thank you, Sarah. I just wanted to make everybody aware of CPI opportunities for training. We have 2 dates coming up on February 6th and 19th. If you are interested in sending staff, please be aware this is initial training. So it will apply to those that have never been trained. This also applies to those that maybe have been trained in the past, that may have certification that lapsed. This is not train the trainer. This is just simply CPI training for those that need that certification. If you do send this out, please make them aware that they need to choose one day. It's not necessary for them to sign up for both. And as always, it's at zero cost to the district. Thank you.
Thank you, Madalena. Next up, we'll hear from our technical assistance centers. We'll start off with Deanna Parrish.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to first start off with promoting the pre-conference event for ETSI-CASE. We'll be hosting Dr. David Bateman on the 27th of February from 12 to 4. We do have a limited number of seats, so please register soon. For the first 50 people who register, you will get a free book by Dr. Bateman. It's going to be sponsored by Star Autism. So thanks to Dr. Wendy Hyatt for getting that set up for our conference, our pre-conference participants. So register soon. I do want
Hey,
to say a couple of, yes.
Deanna, you are breaking up and we can barely hear you. You're like coming in and out. We're getting about every other word.
I'm sorry, Lisa, we are having, we're trying to have bad weather down here, and I don't know
Yeah.
if that's affecting my connection.
Try going off camera and see if that helps a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Sometimes it helps.
Okay, how about now? You guys get me better?
It's a little better, but
About
maybe
the same.
Well, I don't know how to fix it, so I will just drop the information from Academic Alliance in the chat, and hopefully you guys can email me or one of the team members if you have any questions. Sorry about the
Deanna,
connection issues.
Deanna, do you want me to try? Do I sound better for the Academic Alliance?
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
Susan, yes.
Okay, do you have our slides, Sarah?
I do not have them in front of me. No, I can't pull them up quickly. I'm sorry.
All right, I thought
Yeah,
I
no,
sent them. I thought
You did, Susan. You did.
Okay,
It's
okay.
me being scattered. I apologize for
Okay,
that.
all right, that's okay. I did send out an email to everyone this morning with 3 big buckets. Number 1 is just the events that we have coming up in our Evidence-Based Practices Network. There's a flyer that you can share out with your schools. It has all the dates and registration links. We do give certificate renewal for those sessions, and they're all on evidence-based practices, and we have practitioners in the field sharing. The next one is we have a pre-conference for ASK. It's the essentials for your instructional toolkit, Working Smarter, Not Harder. And we have a link there for you to register for that. It's a full day session. We are really recommending this for teachers, but also those who coach and work with teachers, because we will be providing a lot of tools and resources for you to use as you get new staff in, particularly when we have teachers that are have not been formally trained, as we know we're getting a lot of that are kind of training on the job. And then finally, our MTSS Summit is March 25th and 26th, and we have an event flyer for that. And so you can look at those things, and we'll make sure maybe Sarah, you could add our slides in that have all the links and some QR codes before this goes out to everybody. Thanks.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Okay, Stephen Roof.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for the opportunity to give you some updates from the Behavior Alliance of South Carolina. So first and foremost, we wanted to give you some updates from our most recent issue of our newsletter. As a reminder, the best way to get the most up-to-date information from our offerings is to join our newsletter, which you can do via the QR code here or by visiting our website. I'm going to highlight that we have a bunch of sessions that we're doing for the Behavior Alliance of South Carolina strand at the South Carolina Council for Exceptional Children Conference. I'll drop the direct link to our webpage for that in the chat. You can visit our website to check out all of our offerings for that event, which I'll talk about in some upcoming slides. I also wanted to note that we have some additional resources that we're going to be sharing in this issue of the newsletter, which you can find on our website, and I'll highlight on the upcoming slides. So the next slide has a little bit of information about our upcoming events that we wanted to highlight. We have some for January that we wanted to share from some of our external partners. We also have heard some requests from folks about some secondary or middle school resources and wanted to share a virtual think tank opportunity for high schools specifically. The next session for that is actually, there's another one scheduled upcoming in a couple of months. And then the next slide, we have some February information as well, and I'll drop that think tank link into the chat in a moment as well. I'll pull that when the next person is chatting. As I mentioned, for the South Carolina Council for Exceptional Children, we are hosting a pre-conference session, which is quickly filling up. So if you or somebody from your district is planning on attending, make sure you register for that pre-conference via that web link that I dropped in the chat. We also have several other sessions we'll be hosting, including a collaborative session with the Skippy group and with some folks from the University of South Carolina. And then on the next slide, we have a couple more updates. One of our exciting updates that I wanted to share with folks today is that we have a new MTSS for Tier 1 course available. Free Canvas course. Everything that we do online is always free 99 at the Behavior Alliance. So you'll see some self-paced modules on our website. The newest one is around behavior definitions, coming to alignment and agreement on how to define contextually inappropriate behavior in settings, in public education settings. So we'll have a resource for that available on our website. I'm dropping the direct link to all our asynchronous offerings in the chat as well. There's going to be a new one released every couple of weeks here coming up through the next month or so. So be sure to check out that webpage for some new Canvas courses that we'll be launching. And then lastly, on the last slide that I have to update you on, we wanted to highlight another resource here in January, which is an MTSS related resource from actually the larger SC Teams group. So you can check out the direct link to that on the slides that Sarah is sharing out with all of you. Stay warm, everybody. Be safe with the weather. And that's it from the Behavior Alliance.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. Got a little too much technology over here at my fingertips. Okay, Melissa, thank you. You're next.
Thanks, Sarah. So we wanted to tell you a little bit about our evidence-based practice and action, a mid-year review. And so that is a Canvas module as well, free to you all and asynchronous. So at your own pace, to look at reflecting and reteaching current practices, and then also to ensure preschool students acquire, practice, maintain, and generalize skills that reduce challenging behavior and increase academic success. And this is part of our evidence-based practices and action series. So we have one of these available for the beginning of the year, as well as the end of the year, in addition to this mid-year review. Next slide, please. The other thing we have coming up is our Inclusion Unlocked, and this is going to be a book study of the Preschool Inclusion Toolbox. Participants will receive the book, and they will have 12 hours of recertification credits available to them through this. The registration, you can use that QR code or the link, or you can also visit our website. Skippy's going to be presenting at SKICA this year, so we're super excited about that. We'll have 3 presentations, Exploring Early Childhood Inclusion by Dana Bennett, Promoting Inclusion Through Itinerant Services, so talking about our See It program by Tanya Hutchinson, and then Resources to Support Early Childhood Inclusion by Joe Wallace. So we're super excited to be joining that event this year, and if you're going to be there, please come join us. And then we also will be doing some pre-conferences at the South Carolina, Council for Exceptional Children Conference in February, the end of February. And so these will be 2 half-day sessions, the first one being from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. on the 27th, and that's about exclusionary discipline in early childhood. That's going to be super exciting, looking at child guidance policies. And then our second one, if you'll click that slide, is going to be from 1:30 to 4 on that same day, and talk about positive strategies to prevent early childhood suspension and expulsion. And we are going to be collaborating with Dorchester to their preschool continuum task force. So thank you for them joining us for this event. But you can register here using this QR code. And then we also have, you've heard me mention our Special Education Itinerant Teacher Academy. That is ramping up for the summer session in our 5th cohort. And so we will have an information session if you're looking to learn more about that on Thursday, February 13th at 12:30. Dr. Kata Seta and Tanya Hutchinson, our See It coach, will go over what the See It Academy is and how that all works. At that point, the application process will open, and will be open until, I believe it's March 12th. So please visit this QR code if you're interested in registering for that. I believe that is all. Thank you.
It is. Thank you, Melissa. And let's see, I think it was Deanna just put in the chat that the first people to register get a free book by Dr. Bateman. Thank you, Deanna. Okay, next is Joy Ivester.
All right. Good.
Oh, Joy, what did I do? I'm sorry. I will add your slides.
That's okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I'll start kind of talking through them. I have them on my end while Sarah is prepping to add them. Excuse me, I think someone just revved by my office. That task will be at the CC conference as well in Greenville, and we are hosting 2 pre-conference sessions, one on the South Carolina Employability Credential, a 101 for new practitioners or those that want to be updated on the newest information and resources. We're also offering a support SIM or note-taking strategy session as well. And then on June 10th through 12th, we're going to be offering the Diploma Planning Institute again. For the past couple of years, we have offered these in conjunction with the Office of Student Support Services, Avian Coleman's office, and the National Dropout Prevention Center. We are going to offer one of these sessions this summer. It is for local high school or middle school or elementary school teams that really want to focus in on dropout prevention and address some of the shortcomings that are present in the district, look at data and develop a strategic plan. It's a great opportunity to get some national support as well as state support in this area. Please save the date as well for the statewide transition conference on October 20th through 22nd in Greenville. We'll also be reintroducing support for local interagency teams on the tail end of that conference. We'll have an optional day on October 22nd for teams to come together after the content of the conference to do some strategic planning that morning of the 22nd. If you're interested in receiving targeted technical assistance, meaning you have a area of need that you're aware of and want support and want assistance, you can apply for that. And anybody is eligible. We do have assistance specific to performance factors 1 and 9 in graduation rate and career readiness. But if there are other areas that you're interested in receiving support specific to dropout prevention or secondary transition, we're here to support you with that as well. So you can use that QR code or email our team to get more information about that. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Joy. And just to let everyone know, those slides will be added to the slide deck. It is already in your Google Drive, and it's the same link that was in the chat at the beginning of this meeting. It will still access, once I update it, it will still be the same one. So our next information session will be Tuesday, February 4th at from 3 to 4. And Peter, before we end our meeting, is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, just everybody stay safe. This is crazy weather we're getting, looking out the window and seeing the snow. And I heard a strange fact that there are cities in Alabama that have more snow this calendar year than New York City. So that might be a first.
Absolutely.
So anyway, just weird weather patterns. And like I said, stay safe, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for all you do.